And we are live. It's Chris and Emily from LifterLMS, and you know what day it is. It's Feature Friday, now on Tuesday. We're coming to you today about a very important topic, which is backups, how to back up your WordPress website, and thinking about LifterLMS specifically, but we're going to talk in sort of a public service announcement style and do some demos for you, make some recommendations, and just take you on a tour of the landscape of how to think about backing up your website, and what you need to do if you want to restore it, or what if something happens, how to deal with all that. It should be something that you figured out like at the beginning of your project. How am I going to do backups? We're going to talk about the backup options at multiple layers, whether that's on your website itself, using plugins, using external services, or using just letting your web host handle it all for you. And there's different versions. Some are automated, some are manual, some are included in the price, some aren't included in the price. So we're going to take you on a tour of the landscape of backups today, because everybody out there who builds a website should have some kind of backup system in place. I do want to say though, we've used at the LifterLMS website as an example. I don't think in the past 10 years we've ever had to restore our site ever from a backup. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is at the end. But you want to have good security and peace of mind, especially if you're running a business, selling courses and memberships on your site. The website is the business, so it's good to have a security plan and back that up. Emily's going to take us on a tour of the landscape of backups. Over to you, Emily.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. So for backing up your website, like Chris said, the best option is if your web host provides backups, just do it through them. Now, some hosts offer different backup levels at different packages. For example, I'm on like a Hostinger package and I'm on like $10 a month or something. So I get a once a week backup, but then there's an upsell for daily backups. But if you can do it through your host, do it through your host. But if you can't, or for some reason you want to do it a different way, here are the other ways you might want to consider doing it. So backing up through a plugin. There are a few plugins that are available for backing things up. One of them is Blog Vault. I'll show you a little tour of that one where, let's see. So I'll install Blog Vault. We'll also talk about Updraft Plus, but there's a lot of other ones out there like Sakuri and all-in-one WP migration. But let's just start with Blog Vault and Updraft Plus. These are two different types of plugins that do backups that you'll find out there. So Updraft Plus does the backups through your WordPress website and allows for a lot of manual configuration, where Blog Vault gives you a portal on the Blog Vault website in order to manage all of your websites, and it looks a little bit different. I'll show you what both of these look like. The first one, Updraft Plus, if we go to the Updraft settings here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see I have an option to backup now, and I can also visit the settings if I want to do a backup schedule. I could do that, and we'll talk about backup schedules in a second. But for backing up a website, the main two things we're going to be looking at are the database and the files. So let's just say, let's back up my database, for example. The database of a WordPress website is going to be your user information, your user progress information, orders, and things like that. So now that I have my backup created, we can see I can delete the backup. I could download the backup to my computer if I want to have a hard copy stored on a hard drive somewhere, or I could restore my database to this backup that I just created. And an option that Updraft Plus offers you, and you'll find other backup tools also offer you, is in the settings, we can choose where we want to store our backups. And we're going to talk a little bit about scheduling too. Chris shared a story with me a while ago where Chris was backing up his website every hour, and this was like years and years ago, but like on a Bluehost package, backing something up every hour with your database and files creates a lot of data over time just stored in your file manager. So if you're on like a Hostinger or really any website host, if you're just backing up your website a lot, because obviously you would want the most security possible to be able to back up to whenever you need to, The challenge with that is that it stores a lot of data in your file manager. And so sometimes your web host will say, you're running out of nodes, you're running out of space, you need to upgrade your plan. And so realizing that the backups are stored in your database is, or not in your database, in your file manager, is really useful for understanding why you're running out of web space, even though your website is a reasonable size.
Yeah,
And
it was
so,
like I had 10,000 copies of my website on the same website. That's kind of what it was.
yeah, and
maybe more, maybe like 100,000.
It's like a bunch of zipped copies of the website in a zip folder with all your files in it, which is incredible if you want to back it up, or need to restore to a backup. But then if you want to choose a remote storage option, you can also, instead of storing these backups in your file manager, you can move them to a different folder on your web host, for example, a different FTP folder, or Google Drive is a very popular option. You could click the Google Drive option, connect your Google Drive account, and then select a folder, and your backups will go into that Google Drive folder, so it's not taking up space on your WordPress site or in the files or what you're paying your website host for. It's something that you'll have on your Google Drive, and then if you need to restore, Updraft Plus can grab the file from your Google Drive, or you could restore it manually. So that's how a plugin like Updraft Plus would work, where you can select your schedule for backups, your storage location, and even manually do a backup. If we take a look at a different type of plugin, like Blog Vault, for example, they have a really interesting way of doing it. Let me find where Blog Vault was. There it is. WordPress Backups and Security by Blog Vault. If you're a freelancer or an agency, this is a really useful way to manage multiple websites and multiple website backups at the same time. If you're a single site owner, you might want to consider something just for your single site, but I know a lot of people in our LifterLMS ecosystem are managing multiple websites. So if I go Emily+1 at lifterlms.com, so agree to the Blog Vault terms and submit. This is going to redirect me over to Blog Vault's dashboard. So I'm basically signing up for a free Blog Vault account. When I go through the submit form here, you see we're redirected over to Blog Vault. Let it load for a second. And so this is a tutorial about how to use Blog Vault. But if I go to my dashboard, we can see I'll have all of my websites in a list here. I just have the one website that I'm working on a demo, but I personally manage like 10, 15 websites. So it would be useful for me to have all of these in one place. And you can see statistics about the information on your website. You can see the WordPress version you're on, the plugins you have, the themes you have. It'll tell you any security issues. It's all here inside of a dashboard, and you can see them for all of your websites. That's a really cool way to engage backups, but on a bulk scale, where you can manage all your websites in one place at one time. And so Blog Vault also offers a lot of other interesting features, not related to backups, but it also offers backups. So check them out. And the other way, or a couple other creative ways that you can do backups, would be if you are using a CRM in WP Fusion, like at LifterLMS, I believe we use ActiveCampaign. So when people sign up for a course or buy a product, whatever it might be, ActiveCampaign has the data, it has tags, because Chris at Lifter took all the time to set up the structure. So even if the site completely went away, ActiveCampaign has all of the data backed up as to who had what products, what their email is, when they purchased the product. It's all there. And so that means we could just restore the entire LifterLMS business, even if WordPress went away, all the backups went away, all of our security went away. It could all go away, but we would still have that information backed up through our CRM. So if you're running a business, it's really useful to have all of your data mirrored in your CRM by having tags and that organized in that way, to allow your business to be completely restored, even if everything explodes, which it definitely won't. But yeah, so that's backing up with a CRM. And another way to do it is if you're running a low volume LMS site where you're getting 10 to 20 orders a week, a viable option for backups might be to have order emails stored inside of your email inbox. There are purchase receipt emails that come through to you when a customer purchases a course. So if you needed to restore from that week, you could do so by going through your email inbox manually, checking who ordered what and when they ordered it, and then manually recreating them in your system. So that's a little bit of a long way to think about it, but it's just like you have a ledger inside of your Gmail inbox or whatever you're using for inbox management of who's ordered in the last week. So if you needed to restore your site for some reason and you lost all your order data from the last week, you could restore that manually. So you have the options of using your website host, the options of using a plugin, the option of using a CRM, or a low volume LMS site could use just a Gmail inbox as a ledger of orders. So those are the high level of how backups work with LifterLMS and a few other options. A couple honorable mentions. Honors WP has a tool that you can use to migrate Lifter sites to LearnDash sites, LearnDash sites to Lifter sites, but it also includes backing up your LMS completely. So you can back up your LifterLMS with all your student data, all your course data, all your quiz data. Just the LMS component is completely backed up within this product. So if you're looking for an LMS specific backup, Honors WP has a great solution for that. And also the hosts that are vetted by LifterLMS offer great solutions for backups. So if you're looking for a website host that does backups for you, the recommended resources page at LifterLMS will point you to some of those best hosts for LifterLMS that include backups as a part of their offering. But I'll pass it back to you, Chris. What do you use at LifterLMS for backing up data in case things hit the fan?
So we've been on Pagely for our web host probably for about 7 years. And my biggest piece of advice for you, we've given you a lot of different ways to think about backups, but if you're running a LMS website business, and particularly if you're not a technical developer person that doesn't migrate sites around and restore and move things around, it's best just to outsource all that backup and security responsibility to the web host. And Pagely for us has been fantastic over the years. We've never had to restore the site from a backup, or if it did happen, they just do it automatically. They have stuff to detect if there's a problem with the site, and they just fix it themselves. And we almost and we never know about it. That could have happened. I'm not even sure, but that's why I recommend when you're shopping for web hosting, take a look at what they offer for security and backups. And security is like a whole other conversation. There's a lot of layers to that, but the web hosting industry and WordPress particularly has gotten really good at, optimizing the experience and taking on more and more responsibility. Another thing they do, the really good hosts, is they have what's called a CNN, and they're basically looking for bad traffic to your website that may be from bots and stuff, and make sure that doesn't get through. So really choosing a good web host is really the best thing that you can do. But even many of the economical options still have backup, security, and traffic protection features in place. One of the things I like to do if I'm vetting a web host is just ask them the question, either through the contact form or if you can get on a sales call. What do you do for backups? What happens if my site goes down? Can you restore it for me? Do you monitor for that automatically? Think about that. And then think about the concept of redundancy, which is having things in multiple places. So this idea we have around using your CRM like an ActiveCampaign, even if the whole website went away, I could at least figure out who had what product, when they got it, and kind of start recovering from that standpoint. But now here comes the curveball, Emily. In light of speaking of redundancy, I was thinking that staging sites is a really important part of having sites, and that's kind of a backup. Yeah. So maybe if you could just expand on that idea of how to think of a staging site as just another kind of backup that you have.
Yeah, certainly. I do a lot of client work, and a lot of my clients will just create a staging website as a backup before we do updates. And so I don't think I have the capability right now to create a staging site here, but what a staging site is a copy of your live website. So like we can create a copy of our website with our files and database here in Updraft Plus, what a staging site is it would be a service offered through your website host normally. And they would create that backup for you. They'd download the files, download the database, create a secondary website with like a temporary domain, and then upload your files. So it's a different domain. It's not your live website, but it looks exactly like your live website and has all the data your live website has. And on that website, you could test updates. You could create a new course on that website and then launch it on your live website eventually by like downloading it with the LifterLMS import export feature. So if you created a staging copy of your website and you wanted to change your theme, for example, that's a really good way to kind of have a backup that you can almost work with live. So staging sites as a copy of your live website serve as not only backups, but also environments where you can test things. So you don't need to like make a backup, change something on your live website, watch it break, and then restore it. You can simply create a staging copy of your website, make the change you want to change, and then see if it works or not before doing it live. So it's another way to interact with that kind of secure, don't have your website blow up kind of way of running your business in addition to backups.
So thank you, Emily, for the great walkthrough and guide through the world of backups. I know it can be a lot to take in, particularly if you're newer to building websites, but it is an important thing to consider. As we're making this video, it's very close to Black Friday, which typically both backup plugins and backup services and web hosting companies have sales that go on. So if you're thinking you might be at a place to start or switch to a host that is a good fit for your learning management system project, go check out the page on our website, the recommended hosts. Do some looking around, think about your budget, look at the various pricing and compare tables of the web hosts, what they do about backups and resources and security and staging sites and all that stuff. And just my last parting thought is to, as much as you can, just have the web host handle backups and handle any problem where you would ever need to use one. They'll just handle it for you. So just explore the different web hosts and see what they have. That's it for this Feature Friday. Thanks for the great walkthrough, Emily. Yeah. Smash the like button, tell your friends, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you would like to see in the next Feature Friday. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.